Barton Corbin had been indicted for murdering his girlfriend back in 1990 and his wife in 2004. To mount his defense, he hired top legal talent who argued both deaths were in fact suicide and that Bart's connection was pure coincidence.
We've contacted some of the finest forensic people in the country, and all of them say that the evidence is consistent with suicide.
High-profile attorneys David Wolfe and Bruce Harvey were confident they could successfully defend Dr. Corbin.
We're going into the courtroom in an attempt to demonstrate that nothing that the state can offer can overcome the presumption that Dr. Corbin didn't commit either of these offenses, and as a result, he should be found not guilty.
The defense team planned to tell the jury that in Dolly Hearn's case, the family's own independent expert didn't think she was murdered.
The family hired one of the premier medical examiners, forensic pathologists in the country, and said that there is nothing inconsistent with suicide. He said if you showed this information to 100 pathologists, they'd tell you the same thing.
In fact, the defense pointed out that if it were not for Jennifer's case, there would never have been an indictment in Dolly's.
They couldn't prove a homicide.
Still, the obvious connection between the two women, Bart Corbin, could not be ignored.
What are the chances of two women having volatile relationships with the same man and then taking their own lives in the exact same way?
We were talking about coincidences, and the circumstances surrounding the two cases aren't as similar as they're making them out to be. There's been much made about the fact that Bart and Dolly were having difficulties at the time of her death, and that's not true.
According to Bart's attorney, the harassment Dolly blamed on Bart occurred months before she died, and they'd actually reconciled their relationship.
After that, they had in fact gotten back together, and Dolly Hearn had asked several people not to let her family know that she was dating him again.
But what about Bart's relationship with his wife, Jennifer? The defense says it was never violent, and the alleged punch during an argument on Thanksgiving Day was really just an unintentional slap.
And she was trying to push his hand away, and her hand slipped off and it hit her in the face.
And Bart's lawyer also had an explanation for the fact Jennifer's fingerprints were not found on the gun.
Whenever I try a criminal case and we ask the officers on the stand, did you fingerprint the gun? The inevitable response is how difficult it is to raise fingerprints from a firearm.
Why no gunpowder on Jennifer's hands?
With regard to gunshot residue, it is incredibly unreliable, particularly where there is a thick tuft of hair.
As for the bullet angle the prosecution argued would be nearly impossible in a suicide, the defense said it was possible and in fact found another case involving a self-inflicted wound that was nearly identical. And while the prosecution argued cell phone records placed Bart near his home around 2 a.m. when Jennifer died, the defense said those records don't prove anything because no one really knows the exact time of death.
They don't know when Jennifer Corbin died, and that was an interesting aspect of our case.
In fact, the defense says the temperature of Jennifer's body when the medical examiner arrived indicated she may have died later than 2 a.m., perhaps as late as 6 or 7 in the morning, when both sides agree Bart clearly was not near his home.
And as a result of that, it couldn't have been him.
And the defense argued the strongest indicator of suicide was the turmoil in Jennifer's life at the time she died.
Ask anybody, what does a divorce do to people emotionally? It's heart-wrenching. It's gut-wrenching. It's one of the things that drive people to take their lives or attempt to take their lives.
Under the defense theory, Jennifer feared losing her boys in a custody battle, and with good reason. Her divorce proceedings would have exposed a secret online relationship, revealed by a trail of hundreds of emails, some of them explicit.
The relationship turned graphic and romantically graphic.
And there was something else.
She learned that the gentleman she thought she was communicating with was in fact a woman. And upon learning that information, elected to continue the relationship. Suffice it to say that it seemed pretty likely that Dr. Corbin would win custody of the boys.
The defense said a call Jennifer made herself backed their theory. Jennifer expressed her concern when she told a 911 operator Bart had stolen her cell phone and personal journal.
A second call was made right back to the 911 person where Ms. Corbin emphasized the importance of finding him and getting her stuff back because she was concerned and specifically said he's going to use it against me.
Yeah, hi, I'm sorry. This is Jennifer Corbin. I called there a few minutes ago about my husband taking off with some of my possessions, and he's probably going to take them and use them as evidence against me because we're in the process of going through a divorce.
What's more, the prosecutor had not directly tied Bart Corbin to the gun used in his wife's death, a major weakness in the case against him. All of this, the defense contended, added up to reasonable doubt for a jury. As the trial approached, Jennifer's family braced for the possibility her reputation will be tarnished in the courtroom. But they said they weren't concerned about the emails.
She was exceptionally lonely. She just wanted
a friend,
somebody.
Outlet.
And she had had a marriage that was void for years. He was having an affair. She just was dying for some companionship, and she found someone that listened to her. And somehow it gave her comfort.
Coming up, as the trial begins, the prosecution makes a surprise announcement.
It's a bombshell in the case.
When Death and the Dentist continues.